We have helped over 80,000 clients, since the inception of Creative Zone.
So can you list what you do for me? If I say, guys, I want to set up, and what do you do?
We do business development services. We also are able just to assist people with go-to-market strategies. We are also able to assist people with opportunities as well. So we're seeing a lot of opportunities as well. And we are currently going to be assisting quite a lot of businesses where there's going to be a lot of opportunities for trade. We're able to do market research for you to look if that market is going to work and where is it going to work. And I think there are people whereby I think there's a company that we've spoken to and we said, maybe Dubai won't work, maybe go to Abu Dhabi.
Welcome to another edition of Mindset Profits. A lot of smart business people, wealthy business people move their businesses, head offices sometimes to the UAE, to Dubai. And I'm always curious and wonder why that is, if there's still benefit and relevance for it, if it's something I should be considering. So I have the hookup for you. If it's something and a question that you've had, two very, very smart entrepreneurs that I've had the pleasure of meeting and talking to a couple of times. Butle and Mr. Tabo, welcome.
Thank you.
To introduce the show.
Maybe.
Go ahead.
No, just kidding. No. So no, I'm Buhle Mokola Sivanyani. I am the CEO and founder of Azania Trade Hub. And we work with the UAE, and we have a partnership with Creative Zone. Tabo will introduce Creative Zone a little bit more, and then maybe we'll get into the conversation. Yeah.
Fantastic. Obviously, thank you so much for the invite. Wow, I'm literally thinking about a whole bunch of things. But yes, my name, will start there, is Tabo Maposa. I am a senior business advisor at Creative Zone. And been in the business for a couple of years. Creative Zone has been around since about 2010.
Okay.
We're a corporate service provider, and what we specialize in is corporate structuring, business licensing, and all the other business functions: bookkeeping, accounting, marketing services, legal services. But we try to cover as much for businesses that are looking to relocate to the UAE, to the Gulf at large, and create a soft landing for them, so that they don't have to become experts all of a sudden on how do I set up a business in the Middle East? How do I take advantage of some of the benefits that we're reading about? So we synthesize that information, simplify it for businesses globally. The focus obviously for this conversation and what I do is African businesses, and try to make it make sense for them as to why moving out there to the Middle East is a new opportunity for growth.
All right. So before we go further, there's going to be concern with some that we hear war. Is it still something I should consider? Should I wait to consider? Where do you guys stand?
I mean, at this point in time, obviously we do know that the war is happening. We're not oblivious to that. And I think there's a lot of concerns concerning this war that's basically happening. We're concerned ourselves,
Because investing money there.
But one thing that we can guarantee people, business is continuing as normal, and I think Tabo will also confirm that right now. And I think we work as Azania, we work very closely with even the UAE embassy as well. And we've been in discussions about what's actually happening also on the ground, and looking at, in terms of just what's happening with the business. And business is continuing as normal, and people are still able to fly in and out. Tabo flew in from the UAE, guys. He's here. And I know he's here with his family as well. And we've got other business associates that have flown in and out. So business is continuing as normal. Obviously, the war is not only affecting the UAE, it's affecting the world at large, I still will sit here, I don't know what Tawa's going to say, but and say that UAE is still one of the most safest places and most profitable for businesses to basically move to. Yeah.
Okay. Where do you sit on this, Tao?
I think I'm opposed, and I'm just joking.
Oh, oh my gosh. What?
No, absolutely not.
He said they was just going to be like, we understand you. It didn't go you here. Cut.
No, I think on a serious note, on the business side of things, obviously you can tell from a tourism point of view, it's dipped a little bit
Yeah.
because safety, which is completely understandable. People want to have confidence in their vacation destinations, but from more importantly, from a business point of view, we haven't seen that much of a dramatic reduction for any clients that have had business cases. So for anyone who wanted to benefit from the same infrastructure, since the war began, the infrastructure has been exactly the same. Nothing has stopped from a banking point of view, from a licensing point of view. There've been no slowdowns. So our clients that are still looking to benefit from that, whether they're still operating remotely from South Africa, from the UK, from Netherlands and stuff like that, I've been speaking to clients all over the world, and for them, they've just been asking, what is the situation on the ground? At Creative Zone, we are pretty much working at capacity in the offices. People are going into the offices,
Okay.
so I think for the last, let me say, 3 weeks or so, we've been back in the office as usual, as normal, helping our clients as best as possible.
Yeah.
So it's just been a case of, obviously, when you look on the media, it's going to look and sound a whole lot worse than the situation is on the ground. But if you speak to anybody, this doesn't have to come from me. Talk to anybody that you know in Dubai, and just send them a message like, "Hey, how is it?
How safe are you?
Yeah, and they'll just
Are you
tell you.
alive? More,
Yeah.
are you alive?
They'll tell you that at the end of the day, things are pretty normal.
Yeah.
I was actually laughing. I was on Instagram, I think 2 weeks ago, and Temba, formerly Euphonic, was performing at I think it was at B Beach, one of the beach clubs in Dubai, and it was a sold out crowd.
Okay.
And this is even before the announcement of a ceasefire. So this is just a
It's a
reflection
bad thing.
of how it is
So it's not as
on
bad
the
on the
ground. I think
just
people
the
just
messaging.
have a belief and a trust in the government, right? In the systems that are built
100%.
to protect them. And when you
100%.
see those systems working on a daily basis, I think that reinforces
Yeah.
your positivity.
Yeah.
And that is also reflected in the investors, where in that first 2 weeks, people are unsure what's going to happen, what's going on. But after that, things normalized and people just said, okay, well, everything still
Yeah.
seems fine. Therefore, I'm still going to set up my business. I still want to structure this
Yeah.
accordingly. Because at the end of the day, if you're looking to be in the UAE for tax benefits, as an example, you're losing time, right? So you're still invoicing from your South African entity, from your whatever entity, waiting for this war to end. And then now,
So you're losing
you're
margin.
losing a lot of money.
Losing money, but also even a lot of the guys that want to do business in the UAE in terms of like trade with the UAE, they're losing time if they're not doing it now. And also, I think we also ourselves, I mean, I'm an opportunist, where there's a problem, there must be a solution, right? So we also,
opportunity.
there must be an opportunity, so we're seeing a lot of opportunities as well. And we are currently going to be assisting quite a lot of businesses where there's going to be a lot of opportunities for trade. Because knowing that now, a lot of people in the UAE have also been speaking to us about the agricultural side of things, to say that, okay, we are sitting with this problem because of this war, this is what's happening, and we just basically need to find the solution for them. But now if you're going to come and tell us, good ish guys, I'm not sure if that bomb is still going to land there, it's your thing. We're going to continue doing business, because even in this thing that's happening now, people still need to eat, people still need to be clothed, people still need the basic items,
services.
and the basic services.
Yeah.
And maybe they were getting them from elsewhere, and I won't mention any countries, and they're unable to get them from there at this point in time. We have an opportunity right now to infiltrate those spaces as well.
Okay, let's unpack what this situation looks like, what moving your company or setting up in Dubai looks like. But for context, how many businesses have you guys helped set up there in the UAE?
So we have a robust portfolio. We have helped over 80,000 clients, since the inception of Creative Zone. and most clients will have multiple
Oh.
licenses. So I'm pretty confident in saying, you know,
80,000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
80.
and this is just the
Thousands.
clients.
Yes, 1,000. 80,000. 30. So
In how
it's
many-
80.
in how many
Yeah,
years?
This is since 2010. Since 2010.
it's
Yeah.
record.
Hella busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, most clients will set up multiple licenses as well.
Yeah.
You know, because they'll have needs for foundations, for different holding companies, and then operating companies as well. You know, especially with entrepreneurs, I'm sure you would know that they have their fingers in many different pots.
Mm.
So you typically find an entrepreneur has, you know, 2 to 3 different businesses. And, you know, we try our best to support them as much as possible.
So the client will come and you'll set up the 3 businesses for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the spread like in terms of continents?
In terms of continents, I would say the largest spread would be any jurisdictions that are having a lot of tax issues. You know, that's the biggest pain point for a lot of, the clients that we work with. That I'm being taxed in terms of my personal income, my company income, like 50% is going to the government. So those are typically a lot of the things that I will hear.
So countries with
feedback.
the highest tax brackets.
Yeah.
So where are most of your clients coming from?
So that will be the West. You know, you're looking at your Europes, your Americas. We also have clients from the East, the Far East as well. So, you know, we get a lot of business in China, Singapore and Hong Kong and those areas. And then now, you know, Africa is an emerging market. So we're seeing a lot of aggressive growth from established African companies from an SME level to a multinational level to even, you know, companies listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange are looking at, you know, the Middle East, they're looking at the UAE because but the motivations are all different, right? So for the West, it's more so, you know, a tax efficient structure, you know, a lean structure for them. From Africa, it's more, you know, access to capital markets, access to cheap debt as well, and doing business.
Also, once you have a head office there, you can get debt.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
You can look at business loans. The banks
Yeah.
are there. They're there to support companies.
And
So
even,
it's
and
pretty,
even most
you know,
investors, you know, sorry to cut you, Tawa, but
Yeah.
also most investors would want you to have an account in the UAE if you're looking from an investor from the UAE. And I think that's one of the things that we're seeing trend quite a lot right now. So when you're looking for an investor from there, they won't want to give you their money with your account just sitting in your
another
country, yeah, you know, because it's not enough security for them, you know. So we are advising a lot of people who have been trying to raise capital to say that, hey, maybe it's also just advisable for you to set up, even if it's just I think there's different levels of what you can set up as through Creative Zone, and then we can give you those options so that you can see those opportunities through.
Okay, so can you list what you do for me? If I say, guys, I want to set up, and what do you do?
So before we even come to that question, I just wanted to piggyback on something that Wushle mentioned, which was very, very important. When it comes to trying to get investment, at the end of the day, I've been in situations where I was working with 2 American businesses and they were closing the deal in Dubai. And I thought to myself, like, guys, you guys are in America. Why are you both flying to Dubai?
Or they both
to
left
close, yeah,
America.
they
to
both
go
left,
and
yeah,
close
to-
the deal there.
Exactly. So
That's
again, I
weird.
was like, why don't you just, you know, fly to New York? Yeah, we are both on the East Coast.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, but they said to me like, no, yes, that would make sense on paper. However, you know, number one, we have key stakeholders in the Gulf area, in the UAE, and also the meetings that we need to have. It's important for us to be here because UAE has, you know, leveraged itself as a key sort of destination that's sort of smack dab in the middle of, you know, travel area. So if you've got stakeholders in the Far East in China and then you're in the West in the US, it makes sense to say, oh, okay, we're meeting in
We all meet here.
Dubai.
Central.
Yeah.
So
It's very central.
there's a
Easy
lot,
to access
a
for
lot of
everyone.
businesses being done and being closed in Dubai itself as it's because of its location. So those are things that are happening right there. And also we had I had a client in Q3, Q4 of last year. It was a company that's going to go public in the US sometime this year. And they just gotten about $400 million in investment from a PE firm in the UAE. But the catch for that deal was the money stays in the UAE.
Yep.
We are going to set up a joint venture
Yep.
and the money is going to be deposited here in the UAE and
Yep.
it will be deployed as needed to whatever you are doing,
Yep.
you know, globally or in the US. again, that's not something that's foreign. This is a lot of these things are happening right now in the market. So we're seeing clients come to us and say, hey, we need a JV set up. We need this to be done ASAP. We need a holding company here because, you know, we're raising capital for this and that. So those are some of the things where, you know, being in the position that I sit in, I'm lucky enough to see it happen in front of me. And I can also share that information with other clients to say, oh, I know you're in this space. I know that, you know, the Abu Dhabi government has got 2 tenders that are in this space. We've just set up 2 companies who are your competitors. Oh, really? Okay, let's, you know. So a lot of these things, that's how they typically happen. That's how, you know, one of the deals that I closed, it was literally that, like, oh, do you know this company? Yes, that's our biggest competitor. Well, they just set up in Abu Dhabi. And then within 2 weeks,
They
got a call.
We are serious now.
So these are some of the things where the UAE has really sort of positioned itself strategically, access to Saudi as well, right?
Yeah.
That's another big market where, you know, trying to get into Saudi is a lot more complicated than trying to get into the UAE. The barriers to entry in the UAE are a lot lower than Saudi.
100%,
So you'll see companies start with the UAE and then scale into Saudi maybe in year 2, you know, depending on business opportunities as well. So it's all sort of interconnected. But if you're not in the game, there's no way you're going to get paid. You know, that's the critical question. Like, no, I want to, you know, I spoke to someone this week who said, I want to win a contract first. And I said, look, there's no right or wrong answer, right? But I can just tell you what, you know, the successful deals that are going through, I can give you all of the context there. You know, I'm not here to say, no, you must set up first or whatever. It's not my position to say that. I can just give you market information and say, your competitors, this is what they're doing. Or the people winning deals, big money deals, this is how it came together. This is what the clients told me, you know. So it is a chicken and egg situation, you know, because it is real money that people need to invest. But for the guys that have taken that leap, I've seen, you know, myself, I've seen these things develop and I've seen them scale up very, very quickly, because it is a similar culture to, I think African businesses are more, they receive this more positively because we already have that culture of let's sit down and have a coffee. We already have that ingrained in our business culture, you know. In the West, it's deals can also be struck on Zoom. You know what I mean? Like it can happen, right? So when I speak to African business owners, they understand and they say, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to jump because I want to sit down and create long-lasting connections, you know, at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I think just to add on that, I think one of the things we even touched on, you know, actually when we had our event last year, to say that the Arab culture is almost of like an African kind of culture because it's about trust, you know. So you don't walk in and walk out with a deal, you know. You don't. So you know, everything that Tabo is saying, that you need to come set up, it's a trust thing again. You need to come. Yeah, we're gonna give you a 400 million, but however, please here at home, you know, or we're not gonna finalize the deal until we've sat down with you and seen you and seen who you are, you know. I will even make an example. When we signed our MOU, yes, we had spoken about it and everything on Zoom and everything. I had met Tabo. I had not met Tabo's CEO. Only when after he had seen me, engaged with me, and spoken to me, then he was like, okay, fine. This is how we're gonna finalize the MOU. We had a basic agreement. I'm just gonna make like it's just the most simplest example that I can actually make. You know, we had a basic agreement, a general agreement. Only the MOU was done after we had seen each other, worked with each other, and now we've got this thing that now we're gonna walk this journey together. And this is just the basic thing that they do. So I think also just people in general must not come to us and expect things to happen overnight. Yes, your setup can happen very quickly, but in terms of you getting a deal can even take a bit longer because you need to still go in, stay with the people, engage with them, and talk to the people, and then things will move from there.
Okay, you can answer my question. You almost got started answering.
In terms of the how.
The how.
Yes.
What do you do for me?
So I think usually I think we're gonna do this so that they do the legalese. So all the legalese, me, I don't know that legalese thing.
I'm good with
bouncing. Yeah, so we will bounce off. So I mean, usually either people, if they come to Azania or even if they go to the embassy, either we would say now they must go speak to Tabo, or embassy would either call me, then I say speak to Tabo, I would say to the embassy, call Tabo, send the number to Tabo, or anybody that comes through us as well. We would then say, okay, fine, we'll try understand. Maybe 30 minutes meeting. We don't do longer than 30 minutes, guys. No longer than 30 minutes.
Okay.
It should be known what we are doing in
So
30
someone
minutes.
calls you and says,
Yeah, say,
to set up in
I want to
Dubai.
set up in Dubai. Then we will then speak to them. Then we'll tell them that we're going to take them to Tabo. All right.
Okay.
And then they will go and have the conversation with Tabo, where Tabo then will break down everything. Tabo, you can go.
Yeah, so from that point, it can be complicated, but it's also a very relatively simple conversation. So there's a lot of different jurisdictions in the UAE in terms of where businesses can even be anchored, right? So the key terms that you'll end up hearing if you've ever thought about setting up in the UAE are going to be mainland and they're going to be free zone. So those are two sort of buzzwords that everyone will hear, like, what is a free zone? How do I set up there? I've heard this and that. So the general sort of breakdown in understanding where your business need to be, if we were to put it in, let's say, South African terms, if Sandton became a free zone, it's a plot of land where the business rules could be slightly different than the normal business rules in the rest of mainland South Africa or mainland Gauteng.
Okay.
Right. So you could have an incentive from the governors in Sandton to say, look, if you set up a business in the Sandton area, instead of the regular tax rate, we will, only tax you 5%, right, on the corporate tax.
Based on just location.
Yeah, because I mean, it's based on it's a jurisdictional infrastructure.
It's a free zone,
Yeah.
so it's zoned.
It's a specific area.
It's zoned.
Where the rules have been created in such a way to sort of foster more foreign investment, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's very different from any other place, other than the Gulf, right? So even when I moved there, it was very weird to like, what's the difference? Because there's no like gates, right? You don't get to Mainland free zone or DMCC or wherever, and then all of a sudden there's a big gate and someone lets you. It's literally just you could just drive past it and not know you're there. Might drive home and drive past
You actually
Mainland free zone. It's just an area. So it's literally, which is why I use the Sandton as an example, because you drive, you get there, you're in Sandton, right? So it's the same thing, but it's just from a business point of view, just being in that ecosystem, they can be slightly different rules. And in the practical sense, in the way businesses are formed in the UAE, if you're in the mainland, typically there's an expectation for you to also have an office space, right? So a physical office space like this, there's an expectation for that to happen along with your business setup. Free zones have said, actually, for some of the free zones, we will give you a virtual office registration.
Yeah.
So your business, if you're a consultant and you go to your clients, then there's no need for you to pay X amount of money every year for this big office, with a nice view, right? If you don't need that, you don't have to have that. So this is where free zones have become very, very competitive, and it's allowed entrepreneurs to have a lean setup into the market. And then as they scale, then they can move into the mainland. And then they can get the fancy offices, because now you've built a book of business, you've got revenue coming in. Now you can go to the next level. So that's the sort of the basic principles in terms of setting up a company. But also the big sort of differentiating factor is the business activity.
Yes.
So again, in other jurisdictions in your South Africa's, typically you register your company and
get your SARS
yeah, that's it,
tax
right?
certificate. Yeah.
In the UAE, you have to clearly state what is the business activity of this business. So if you say something like, for example, let's say real estate, right?
Yeah.
With a real estate license, you have to also have your physical office space. There's certain business activities. If you are sort of let's say a storage unit or warehousing company, or any company that does engineering, architecture, even if it's a consultancy in the mainland, you would need a physical office space. So they already stipulate all of these rules, right? So the mainland it can be a little bit tricky sometimes depending on what you're doing. So a lot of the time you will have entrepreneurs will come in and say, let me just do the free zone, because this one is very simple. I have a virtual office, I have my business license, I have my visa, I have my corporate bank account. Simple, right? And then
virtual offices can give you a visa.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
So it has nothing to do with whether or not you have a virtual office. It's about the business itself. Once you set up a business in the UAE, if it's an operational company, it has the right to sponsor your visa. So you can get residency through that. So a lot of people who are contractors, or they're looking to relocate to the UAE and build something out from the ground up, they're sponsored by their very own company. So you can come to the UAE, we set you up with a consultancy or a marketing company, media company, and then
Don't
boom,
get
you have
ideas.
your
I'm getting the podcast could be moving.
it's honestly, we have I've dealt with clients who, you know, we talk about these, you know, big deals, 400 million and stuff like that, but I also in the portfolio will have clients who are, you know, Pilates instructors, who are career coaches.
Yes.
You know, that's all business. And that's what I love about the UAE, is that I've seen so many people actually live off of their passions. You know, it's not, okay, I'm a consultant from 9 to 5, but my real passion is I'm a DJ. You know, they're people who are DJs, and that is actually making them really good money, and they're chasing their passion at the same time. So that's probably the thing I love most about Dubai and the UAE as a whole, that people are actually doing things that they're passionate about. It's not just like us when we grew up, you must be a doctor, a lawyer. There's only, you know,
The pressures.
6 professions that will actually, but everything, you know, people who are just gamers, you know, playing PlayStation, and that's making you a lot of money. That's, to me, that's inspiring, you know, to be like, okay, I had no idea this was possible.
Where dreams come true.
So basically,
Anything is
if
possible.
someone reaches out to you, you will show them the opportunity, you will show them the legal landscape they have to navigate, and you will register their stuff.
So I mean, where also this partnership works between Creative Zone and Azania, that's where we come in with the BDM stuff, you know, and I mean, Tabo, it's quite a huge help, you know. We still haven't landed ourselves fully in the UAE. We in the process. I mean, past this war, in the next couple of weeks, I was meant to be also traveling actually this week, but I was told to just hold it a little bit.
Okay.
But we are able to go on the ground for any client, and in terms of BDM work, and basically get and identify opportunities for them, right? That's where we come in.
Don't say
So-
BDM, Pella.
Yeah, business development, it is part of business
No,
development.
I'm saying for the people.
People are smart.
It's a business podcast.
It's a business podcast.
business podcast.
What is he saying about you as his viewers? I'm a bit worried, hey? We need to question this gentleman, eh? No, I'm questioning him on your behalf. You know, the lack of trust. It's a business podcast, so I bet they know, but we do business development services. We also are able just to assist people with go-to-market strategies. We are also able to assist people with opportunities as well. So that's why the relationship works. And I mean, right now, we won't mention the company, but we are both busy with one of the biggest companies. I won't actually even say what space it's in.
You almost did.
Yeah, I almost said what space. I won't even say what sector it's in. But we've currently in an agreement with them, and they've set up in the UAE. We as Azania are currently helping them with their launch even in the UAE, and also the announcements that are happening in South Africa as well. So already we can see, and it's a big deal, I think, for even us. I mean, I'm still young, guys. I'm still youth in the country, né? So to land such a big one for us, it's quite major. But it again comes with trust, the experience, and the relationships that we've basically built in the past 5 years as well for us to reach this point. And I think I wanted to add something before I got to that point. That even when the advice is given, and I think people see Dubai, yes, it's expensive and all of that. The nice thing about Creative Zone is that they give you so many options, right? And there's other parts of the UAE that you can go register in. But usually we would advise people according to the business activity where you need to go, because your license, it's not like us, where you've got your CIPC and then nobody reads where you registered your company, or that you are in construction, but you're bidding for, you know, cleaning stuff. No, it's not that case. Your license actually matters. So whatever you put on your license, it's what you're going to be bidding for if you're looking for business. If you want to add, if you want to bid for something that's not on your license, you have to add on to your license. But also location does matter, right? So, and I just heard this just through grapevines to say that you're looking for 400 million, you can't be in a smaller emirate. You need to be in Dubai, or you need to have registered in Abu Dhabi or something like that. So the people would look at that and they will take you seriously based on where are you registered? They will look at the
It
location.
just has to make sense.
You
It just has to make
advise,
sense.
because it's a big market,
Yeah.
and someone who's coming in, it's the first time, they won't know which ones are
Yeah.
the
Well,
strategic
we
ones.
advise on all of that, and
Yeah.
when also the market research, we are able to do market research for you to look if that market is going to work and where is it going to work. And I think there are people whereby I think there's a company that we've spoken to, and we said, maybe Dubai won't work, maybe go to Abu Dhabi, because Abu Dhabi again is the capital of capital,
Okay.
there's so many different things, and there's people in logistics, there's people in education, there's people in manufacturing, there's people, there's different things, people in mining,
Are the cost differences significant
yes.
across the different regions?
Definitely.
I mean, it's
Definitely.
all about like Wute was saying. Part of the consultation and the meetings that we'll have is you come in freely. You'll give us all the context, right? To tell us what is your plan, who are your potential clients, is it government, is it private sector, what do you want to do? Is there any business being done in the UAE itself, or is this a business where I had a UK based client who had minerals going from Africa to different parts of the world that are not the UAE, and we structured the business in a way that benefits him, right, in that way. So it's not just, oh, come in, we're going to set you up in the mainland. I first need to understand your goals and
100%.
what are your pain points, why are you even looking at the UAE. Once we have that analysis done, then we can say, okay, based on what you want and the reason why we're even having this conversation, this is what the appropriate structure would look like. But yeah, if you are an African business or any business globally and you're looking to raise capital, for example, right? There's another client of mine where he's Dutch. Yes, he's Dutch. And for him, he struggled with a deal. It was probably, I think it was like $7 to $8 million deal. He struggled with it because the investors from outside of the UAE wanted him to have his incorporation in DIFC, which is the Dubai International Finance Center.
Okay.
So he was in a Dubai free zone. I did his setup last year, but they weren't as familiar with that particular free zone with deals of this scale. So then he called me and he said, hey man, like I've got my papers, it's all legit. Like these guys are giving me grief for no reason. And I said, what are they saying? He's like, no, they want me to have this structure in DIFC. And I said, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if $10 million,
yeah, come on.
So for certain companies, like I have heard that before. Someone call me and say, look, we're doing XXX business and they're only going to deal with us if we're registered in DIFC. And with Creative Zone, luckily, we are licensed in DIFC, so we can take care of that. We can set up those companies, those SPVs or holding companies, stuff like that. Well, special purpose.
So-
Yes, I was about to say, Guti, no acronyms, please. Can you just state? Because apparently the people need to know.
We don't need the people need to be clear.
Yeah.
All right. So the numbers that you keep rolling, $73,400.
Yeah, okay, maybe
Anyone listening is gonna think this is not for me. It's for super rich. Not
No,
even
but I
rich.
think the example that Tabo made about the people in Pilates, the people who are
the career coaches.
the DJs, the
Trainers.
podcast guys, podcast guys, like,
Yeah.
but also the trainers. There's so many different options, guys who are in the event space, if you're in the event space, you want to do events that side, those type of things, so at the end of the day, that there's space for everyone. We're just making this example about capital raising because we also know our African brothers and sisters that access to finance is the big thing, And I think a lot of the people that we've dealt with have always asked us, how can the Arabs actually invest in my stuff, That's why we're making those examples because we know.
And what they quote is big monies as well.
Yeah.
Speaking to clients who tell me, okay, there's this huge road project in Congo that
Yes.
needs this much money. You know what I mean? So like these are all huge money deals.
Yeah.
So these are some of the conversations that we have. But again, it's a robust landscape.
100%.
It's you like I mentioned, Pilates is very real.
I think it does become clear.
It's an economy that exists.
Yeah.
But I have two last questions for you, and this will be sitting on people's minds. One is the cost of living is high there. Will I experience the benefit of moving if life costs 10 times there than here?
I think in terms of that question, yeah. So it's you make a lot of money, but you also spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right. It goes together.
Yeah.
You're not gonna make hundreds of thousands and only spend like 10 dirhams. Right? It's like it's economies of scale. But I think anytime someone is talking about relocating potentially, there always has to be, if we're speaking in business terms, there needs to be a business case. Right. So there are, hopeful individuals who will say, look, this is a dream of mine. And I do have those conversations in as fair a way as possible. But I also try to be very real. Like you said, it is very expensive to live in not even living, just the business license itself. It's not going to be cheap to keep it going. So you have to have income coming in. So the most
So once I have a
successful-
license, I'm spending a lot of money to keep it active as well.
Yeah. So as an example, right, if we go with a very basic setup in a Dubai free zone, right, you're probably looking at spending anywhere between $5,000 to $8,000, right, in year one, anywhere in that range. And in terms of the license renewal, it's going to be anywhere from about $4,500 to $5,500 every single year, right? So you have to make sure whatever you're doing, you have at least enough to pay for the renewal, right? So in a year's time, you have to have at least $5,000 to pay for your license renewal if you're going to set it up in the UAE. There are other Emirates, like which they mentioned, that are going to be cheaper than that. That will bring you into maybe the $2,000, $3,000 range. But again, it's all about the type of business, right? But if it's something that, it's a passion project for you, then yeah, we can go really, really small and cheap on it. And then you can sort of build it out. But with a lot
So
of,
you're saying, career coaches, people who are doing that passion are paying that amount.
Yes, because it depends on, it's all about your client. So like I will not dictate to you where you need to set up, right? I ask the questions and then you tell me, and then based on that, we can make recommendations to say, look, if you're saying you're dealing in this market, like I was saying with the other client where his deal, it
was dependent on him being in the DIFC.
Exactly. Okay. So for him, his client told him, you must be here. And then we made it happen for him, right? Whereas with other individuals, they don't need to, because I do get quite a number of calls with people saying, hey, I want to be in DIFC. And I'll ask them, why? You don't need to. It's like, no, but I just the ChatGPT. So these are very real things that happen at the end of the day, and it goes from both sides. Where let's move away from DIFC because this has nothing to do with DIFC, right? DIFC, these are the type of companies, these are the type of deals that are structured here, and then these other free zones are built specifically for your purposes, right? You're building out something, you want to keep it lean and you want to see how it goes. And like I said, it's very, very common for entrepreneurs to have multiple licenses in the UAE. Very, very
and I mean, also on the cost of living, and where we know when we give you the advice, like we said, there's a virtual office. You don't have to immediately take and pack your stuff and leave and go to the UAE. And Azania is a perfect example of that. We've been working and doing work in the UAE. I'm still in South Africa, guys. I go to the UAE. Yes, I do travel there every time, but we have made a decision to be here. I am planning, I do want to move, obviously, but those things, you build them up over time. Don't just pack up and go, because you'll get a shock. And then
it's not the type of economy.
No, it's not that economy whereby you can risk it all.
Sometimes I do have clients who are just like, hey, I've been living in France for the last 10 years. I've made some good money and I'm tired of this. I want to move and relocate. Yeah, sure. That can work, right? That's an economy where that person, if they've worked a certain amount of time, we know that they can afford, moving.
But I mean, also it's like moving from what is the currency of France at the pound?
Is it?
No, what is it? It was like euros. Yeah, so you're moving from a euro to a dirham.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Yeah,
right.
Not from our African.
So now you're moving from a rand or from a pula or from a.
It takes a little bit more coordination just to understand, because I've spoken to people and I can tell you don't know the market that you're talking about. And I'll just try to give more context about, look, if you're really looking to be there, this is the balance that you need. And then when I tell them that, they get shocked, like, wow, that's a lot of money. I'm like, yes, because it's expensive, right? If we're just talking about rent alone, like a 1-bedroom apartment in Dubai, I'd probably say at least $15,000 a year, right? Like that's probably what
Okay.
you're looking at for, you know, a pretty decent to nice 1-bedroom apartment. But now even 20,000 is standard
Yeah.
per year.
Just
you know.
just a can of
$.
yeah,
Dollars.
just a can of soda. Just a can of soda. I wouldn't mention brands because we're on your podcast. I will respect you. So just a can of soda in rands. I'm gonna put it in rands, like 80 rands. You know,
$. Is fine.
you know, and then maybe 2 pieces of chicken and chips, 150 rands. You
So the
know,
can is like what, $10.
about.
Okay.
If you're looking at, well, again, for more
Drinking water.
Yeah, I mean, I was in
more-
Qatar the other
the more
time.
relatable side.
Yeah.
So just to jump in here, and this is what makes my friends all just like, I'm never going there ever. I'll tell them that one cider, you're
Yes.
buying it for 200 rand.
Yes, just one cider.
what?
One cider. We're not even mentioning the brand.
Actually, dollars. I'm curious with the dollar amount.
The dollar amount would be about what, 50 dirhams, which is I think about $15.
15,
yeah, 15-ish dollars.
I mean, I was in Qatar the other time, and I mean, I don't even know whose was at this point in time, currency wise. I was in Qatar, and I arrive, and I'm just like, "Ah, I would love a cup of tea, hey?" And mind you, I don't drink sugar or milk. I just want the hot water
Yeah.
with the tea bag, right? Swipe my card, everything. My tea, I'm just like, when it's converted,
Okay.
180 rands.
For a tea pack and water.
Just the tea bag. And then I just landed. Now I'm thinking, hey, there's another couple of days here, another week, 7 days, 10 days here. Hey, it's going to be rough. But these are just the realities, you know, that guys, let's sit, let's talk, let's do the research
Plan your-
because, because it's not the joker that you're having there. It's
So
the,
you gave us the scary version.
yeah,
Let's talk about the good version as we close.
yeah.
What's the business case? What are the advantages? Especially what changes for me tax-wise if I set up
Mm.
a virtual office there, tax-wise and
Yeah.
payments-wise? Because I'm
Yeah.
thinking, if I have an office there, I have a bank account there. Are my clients here paying me to that account?
South Africa must not be upset with us. I'm just thinking we're about to.
Rattle some
Well,
balls.
I mean, it doesn't even necessarily have to be that, I'd say, divisive, right?
Yeah.
When in terms of the two major benefits globally, right? For people looking to evaluate setting up in the UAE, it's always going to be tax, the big T word, right?
Yes.
So in every other jurisdiction around the world, you're probably looking at anywhere between 15 to 20%, 25% on tax in most countries, right?
Yeah.
In terms of corporate tax. In the UAE, it's a flat rate of 9%. And the first $100,000 in your profit is always going to be tax free. So if your profit for the year,
100,000
Yes.
is free.
Tax free. Tax free.
so if
Your
if
first.
if your net profit for the year of 2026
Yeah.
is $99,000 US,
Dollars.
you're not paying any corporate tax.
Yeah.
So that's big
Zero tax.
benefit number one. So anything over $100,000 is now
That's a
taxed at that
lot of money.
9%. So a practical example, your profit is $121,000. Only $21,000 is taxed 9%. Your first 100K is always going to be free. So that's a huge, huge benefit to anyone from any country if you just think about how much you're paying. So whenever I speak to a client, I always say, look, worst case scenario, even if you're looking to set up in the UAE to try and get new clients, new business, the worst thing I could do for you is cut your tax bill in half. That's the worst thing I could do. So that's like, it's a win-win situation.
If I've done anything for you, right?
Save
Cut
you.
your tax bill.
Yeah.
And
That's all.
and it's very, very impactful when you actually sit down and you do the maths, right? Especially for companies that are operating at a high level. You know, that money, the more you make, the more the government is going to tax you, right? It's usually a scaled type of tax regime in many countries. So that would be the biggest benefit from a tax point of view. And even again, getting a little bit deeper into the weeds.
Yeah.
If you're there's something called the small business exception.
Yes.
So if your overall revenue, not the profit, but the revenue is under $800,000, we can still get you at 0% corporate tax.
Yes.
So if your profit
Even if
was-
your profit is
so if say your profit was 500K,
yo,
then but your revenue was under $800,000, we can still get you that whole 500,000. Yeah, it's yours, and you can reinvest it, deploy it, pay out dividends, whatever you want to do. And then the other benefit is income is not taxed in the UAE.
Personal income.
personal income.
Personal income.
So a lot of entrepreneurs will then just pay themselves a salary from their company because again, that's guaranteed the 0%, right? There's no caps, no limits, whatever. Your salary is whatever it is. Then obviously it has to, you can't pay yourself, you make $1 million and then you say my salary is 1 million.
1 million, no.
There are rules and
Yes.
place.
Yes.
Which you will quote your clients.
Yes.
Yeah. So we give them all that information. That is a very common question. Like, can I just,
All of it.
myself $1 million?
All of it.
There needs to be there's certain guidelines that you follow. There's transfer pricing rules. There's all these things where it has to be within market value. So if other CEOs in your industry or similar type of companies are making this money, then absolutely that's fine. You just can't be an outlier, right? At the end of the day, because also the government is doing this on a good faith basis, right? So that's, I'll say the big benefit. And then in terms of, what was your other question?
No, I want the benefit.
Yeah.
Say tax-wise and then payments-wise.
Yes, payments.
Yeah.
That was the other thing. In terms of payments, it makes your life a lot easier. So one big pain point for African businesses especially, and even I have clients who will be based in Europe and they're struggling with African clients, African customers in terms of getting forex out of those countries. So maybe less so in South Africa, but like definitely some of your East African countries, your West African countries, payments are a struggle, right? It's hard to get FX out of those countries. So when you have a structure in the UAE, now you can have an HQ there where you can send and try to house as much of your capital in the UAE. And now that allows you to pay your suppliers in China on time. We're not fighting about, hey, my bank only allows these limits and these caps and these other things. So now you have the access to the UAE banking system, meaning that all of those payments just they go.
Yeah.
You have access to different systems, you have access to different credit. So it just becomes a game changer for any established company. That usually, that's the big thing that they'll say to me, like, hey, we're really struggling with payments and we are trying to grow. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those are the
And that's such a general problem in Africa. I mean, we were waiting for a payment from Ethiopia that ended up being cancelled probably more than 2 times before we even were able to get it through. So just those loopholes that you have to go through. And I think the UAE just being centralized to make it easier even for those payments to pass through. I think that's a major big thing.
All right. So I get it. But in my mind, don't I get double taxed if I have clients here and I've got an office there?
Yeah.
My clients, if they pay me, they pay to a South African account. Then I move money to the UAE account. It's revenue there and revenue here. Yeah. I still have to account for this in South Africa and account for it there too. Yeah. Isn't that creating?
I mean, I see, the line of questioning, but that's where, when we have these conversations, we go into that detail of who are your clients, right? Are your clients just going to pay? The easiest thing is for them just to pay directly to your UAE entity. Okay. And in some situations, in some industries, the payments would have to go to South Africa, for example. And it's fine. You can keep that revenue in South Africa, right? Don't force it to try and put it in the UAE. But even in all of that, we can still structure it in a way that you're still being tax efficient and you're still being lean compared to just having the one entity where all of your revenue is going, right? So even if we keep it as basic as possible, if you had the opportunity, let's say half of your clients are here, right? The other half are dispersed all over the world, and you have your 2 entities. Would you rather 1 million rand sit in your SA account, or have 500K sit in the SA account and then the other 500K sit offshore? Right.
Tax reason.
Tax-wise, it's going to make a lot more sense in terms of trying to balance it.
I'm thinking diversity is very critical, and I think that's one thing that as Africans in general, we need to start doing very well. Start diversifying our portfolios, diversifying our money. Don't let your money gather dust in one account. Because
in one country.
And in one country, or in one thing, we need to be diverse, because that's how you then create security for yourself and also for your future. And if you've got a family, and for your family. So it's never advisable. I don't know what people are being advised, but it's never advisable to just keep it in one place. Diversify it.
Just on a quick note as well, just to put a button on that. It's very important, like which I said, to have a diverse portfolio. I was at a family business summit, and a lot of successful family businesses are saying, look, we've conquered, this jurisdiction, this country, we're doing really, really well, but we've hit the ceiling, right? So this is where, when you look to different markets, you can have those opportunities. And especially now, if you look at a fixed deposit, if you put it in a South African bank, what's your return on investment compared to a fixed deposit in a UAE bank potentially?
100%.
When you start to look at all of those different benefits in terms of your money working even more efficiently for you in different jurisdictions. So it's not about, ditch South Africa or ditch this country and just come to the UAE. A lot of the time, they all work together. And you mentioned one thing about, being double taxed. A lot of countries with the UAE have something that is called a double tax agreement or a double tax treaty.
Okay.
Basically, in the simplest terms possible, it just means that if your money is taxed in the UAE, we're not going to tax that money again in South Africa. So a lot of countries have those agreements in place with the UAE. I'm pretty sure South Africa has a double tax agreement with the UAE as well. So that also protects.
But we'll verify.
I had a client who asked this question, so I'm 99% sure that I know Germany doesn't, which was just a pain. But anyway, so those are some of the things that are in place to support businesses, support entrepreneurs, because it wouldn't make sense for you to be double taxed, right? Taxed there and taxed here.
100%.
So the infrastructure is there. There's opportunities, and it's just. It's a new market completely.
And I think also to the point, I think in the beginning where we were talking about that, how centralized the UAE is. I think with the example that Thabo made, that, his client said, no, we are signing this in the UAE. And that's a thing, UAE is like 8 hours away from most of the countries currently right now. So it's quite central. It makes sense, especially the guys who are doing exports and imports. It's also advisable to do it from there. And also with all the issues that are happening with sanctions and all of those type of things, we would then advise, if you are sanctioned, do it through the UAE and let it bypass there. It'll still reach that place, even maybe much more cheaper than what it would directly.
Those people with products that they want to export to more.
100%.
When you actually had Donald Trump, can't believe I had to say his name. But anyway, when he started imposing his tax tariffs regime, like I think it was early last year, announcing tariffs, like 100% tariffs on China, on I think it was 25% on the UK and all these other countries all around the world. There was a lot of panic, right, in the markets, and the tariff on the UAE was 10%. So again, there were a lot of businesses that ended up setting up in the UAE because that relationship with the US was a lot better than whatever country that they were domiciled in as well. So again,
a lot of re-exports happening from there.
When you diversify that way, these are some of the advantages that you can have. Otherwise, 100%. How are you going to sell your products to your clients in America if your tariff is 50%? Are you passing that extra 50% to the consumer? Are you going to eat it? So there's a lot of considerations that a lot of companies were put into into an uncomfortable position. But the UAE, with that 10% tariff, it just made a lot of sense. So it's a global game. You just have to figure out
where you fit in.
Listening to you and the numbers you roll and stuff, and to the people, we can dream, guys. One day.
Also, it's some of the stuff is just simple stuff, and I think hence we're saying, come and have a conversation with us. Come and have a conversation with us. There's options for startups. There's a lot of options. I think that we haven't mentioned because we don't have a lot of time. But people must know that in September of this year, we'll officially release a date. We are hosting our second UAE Advantage event at the Leonardo Hotel in Sandton, Creative Zone, Azania, and the UAE government. And we will be there, but we'll officially release a date where we will be sharing more, and then there'll be more opportunities as well. This year, we are going to be a bit more stricter. It's not a full day. It's going to be like a half day, most likely. But maybe we can say full day up to lunch. Because people never leave, right? People never leave because it's so nice. It's networking with people. But so this year we are doing it again, and people can come, and then you can get more information and hear about more opportunities as well.
Close with this.
Yeah.
Who should look for you And
Who
how
should
do they
who should
find
look for me? You must have money. Have the money. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Any.
Need the money. I mean, at the end of the day, it's dreamers are okay, but let's also be realistic dreamers. We are here for you because we also deal with startups. There are solutions. I mean, right now we also working with a company called Hub 71. They deal with a lot of startups, so there are opportunities in that startup space. We are going to also be having like a whole startup summit for the UAE as well, sometime this year as well, probably before this Creative Zone one that we're going to have.
Is it gonna be advertised on your website?
Yeah, a social media as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll definitely be. So we'll be having basically 5 different interactions relating to the UAE this year. So it
So
will be.
I'll put your website
Yeah.
so people can just check it out.
Yeah, my website needs updating, but it will be updated by then.
Hey,
I think-
hey,
You know when you're spoiled.
okay. It's
But
okay.
you know what? I think also sometimes a doctor cannot heal themselves. We can advise all of these things, but you as well as the advisor
Save time.
needs to be advised.
By the time this goes up, you could have fixed it.
Yeah, we can vibe code it. It's fine.
But they will find it on LinkedIn. We'll definitely advertise on LinkedIn and all of those type of things. So you can find us on Trade Hub on LinkedIn. We'll definitely and we usually send invitations. So I think because of the network that we've got, would usually send invites to certain of our partners that we work with. Then they will take it out to their networks as well, which works out a bit better. Yeah.
Anything to add on who should look for you and how they find you?
Yeah, I'll probably say from my experience in terms of the setups that go through, right? It's always need based. That's just the honest truth. So if there's a need for you to have an entity or entities in the UAE, you definitely will find your way to me. You know,
and also Gulf.
yeah,
Gulf.
yeah, across the Gulf. But it's always going to be, like you said, it's not cheap. So if you have an idea, again, we can hear it out. But typically, especially from the African market, it's established businesses, it's established entrepreneurs that have liquidity, that have cash flow, and they want to do more, right? They want to grow, they want to scale, they want access to new tech and that kind of stuff. Those are usually the conversations that I have on this side of the world. It's not the type of market where you can just wake up and say, hey, I just want to register something and see. Look, if you have the money, great, but
it's not advisable.
It's just not what I see.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But it's also not advisable. So I think also on our end, guys, I was kidding about the money part, but we do need the money. Yeah, but I mean, also scaling is very critical. People who are ready to scale, people are looking for access to markets, people who are looking for strategies of expansion, and also the network. You can come and contact us, and we've got you. We've got you.
Explain the network part.
The network part.
Like for networking, what can it do for me?
Networking gives you access to spaces that you wouldn't normally have and on a general sitting at home, because I could meet, I met Tabo, and now Tabo has opened up another avenue for me, where I couldn't reach that access. Even simple example, when we wanted to do and help companies expand into the UAE, we were approached by probably 3-4 companies that wanted to work with us. We went and sat in the UAE and had meetings, but I was not satisfied because I said, I want somebody with diversity that will be able to get there and give people different options, and that came through also networks to say, hey, no, there's these guys, Creative Zone, contact them, do this and whatsoever. And that's how we got together. And then now look at us, we're in a partnership for the long run,
So I could go there and meet business people.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, for us as a value add, even when you set up with Creative Zone, as we mentioned at the top, right?
Yes.
We have a huge book of business from different clients
100%.
who do a lot of different things. So I do speak with clients when we're setting up and they're in a particular industry. I can already say, oh, I can connect you to so-and-so. You know, there's this guy who's in the podcasting space. Okay, you know, here's an introduction.
See,
Since
you
I'm
see,
moving,
you see, you
since I'm
see.
moving,
I'm telling you, we've
So
got you.
those are some of the things that simple value add at the end. Or I can ask my team if it's an industry that I haven't worked in, right? Let's say you do something like cobalt, for example, and this is my first client I'm dealing with in the cobalt industry. I can ask this, hey guys, who do we have that's in this industry that set up something like this, and we can make these type of
And I
connections.
mean, one of my partners now in the UAE came through travel, you know, I think, and they went to him and he said, no, man, I know this person that can, you know, now we're forming this big thing,
Yeah.
you know, and even though he's a big exec somewhere else, I won't mention the company, again, you know, marketing.
it's okay.
Don't wanna
It's okay.
market. Yeah. So, but I mean, at the end of the day, that we've met, we as Azania have met our partner now that we also forming this consortium within the UAE through Creative Zone. You know, I mean, we were planning to set up by ourselves, and now I don't have to go through all the work of setting up by myself because he had already something set up, and we had so many things that we want to do that are similar, and then we decided to collaborate together.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
Thank you. This has
Yes.
been a masterclass on what it takes to go to Dubai. And
Yeah, really.
but thank you for joining us till this time. Let us know what you think, man. We can afford to dream. And if you can afford it and you're exporting, you know now the benefits, the advantages. You can look them up. I'll throw websites in the description of this video. Otherwise, see you in the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's Friday, guys. Thank you.